17 birds. In my line, if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. They had me 6 hours, I said 17 words. I'm like Shady in the snow, I spun, I'm so superb. A legend still remains when his flesh is in the earth. And if they raid your tomb, may they fall upon a curse. Yeah, this 9 I keep for backup. With this I wanted chip, we ran plays. They need to build a statue for this shit. Big plays, a sleigh couldn't get you through this shit. More grams than Brandon, fiends rushing for a hit. The priest sitting out a diner while you niggas giving tips. You gon' get a C-section, all that pushing through your lips. I hold the desert straight, a shooter told me do my dips. You're just photogenic, not a boss, I'm convinced. Niggas practicing hard for them obituary pics. Shooters watching the gram for them locations of your pics. Linebacker Brunson, call me if you wanna hit. We world champs now, that just come with this shit.
Let's go!
You want 17 birds? Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. In my line, if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds.
You see the track?
I know a guy if you want 17 birds.
You see the body of work.
Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds.
We don't even got to talk too much longer. We ain't got to hold nobody up or nothing. You know what's going on. Lord Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I'm the best reporting on the Eagles. As always, before we get into the meat and potatoes over here, we always talk about big print champs. We always do that, man. Before you heard of print champs, you heard of print champs. Hurt season hats, ski mask Howie tees, the hardest merchandise in the land for all creators. That's just what we do. We bring the people what they want. This weekend, I'm going to be back in the studio. Yes, more content coming musically, all of that stuff. But let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. That's all while we here. Sorry for the impromptu stream. I just feel like talking to y'all. You know what I mean? With what we just witnessed. You know what I mean? Draft-wise, team-wise. Hold on, let me get right. My bad. I apologize, y'all. I ain't right. I ain't even in my right state of mind. But what we just witnessed and what we just saw as a fan base, as a Philadelphia Eagles family, is something that you can't take for granted. Draft-wise, everything, man. When you really think about it, let's sit here and really think about this for a second. When you really think about it, it's more than the draft. You know what I'm saying? It's the culture that was built in Philadelphia. I was thinking about this all day today, but before we dive deep into it, let me say what up to the people. I see my dog Loyal to Houston in the building. My dog Dave Dust in the building. I see my dog D-Lo up here earlier. Malik Legate. He said, where you find 17 birds from? Just search Lord Brunson on all musical platforms. 17 birds been out probably going on a year now. You know what I'm saying? Search it. You find all my music up there, man. Also, Rap Mastermind featuring D'Angelo Xavier is up there as well. Like I said, more music to come. Shout out to the people, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank y'all for tapping in. Because I know for real, what y'all really want to do is get to these NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about it real quick before we get into that. So, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, they broke the record. You know what I mean? The most telecast program in NFL history was the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And US history, I'm sorry, was the Super Bowl that featured the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's just monumental in itself. Let's think about this for a second, man. Let's think about this. Jalen Hurts was so heavily doubted, you know what I mean, on a national scale, and then he ended up playing in the Super Bowl that was the most televised in NFL history. Let that sink in for a second, man. They doubted him to the degree that everybody was writing him off, and he proved himself in front of the world. I think it was close to 115 viewers. The greatest show on turf, Marshall Faulk and them ain't do that. The so-called America's team ain't do that. The Patriots, Tom Brady and them in 10 Super Bowls ain't do that. Jalen Hurts in his first Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes was the most televised Super Bowl in U.S. history, NFL history. You know what I mean? There has not been a program. You got to understand the magnitude of this. There has not been a program in U.S. history that was watched more than the Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts used that stage to let everybody know that no matter how much you doubt it, you could prove them wrong. Remarkable. Remarkable. Rude girl, what up? You know what I mean? Remarkable. That's all I'm going to say. Remarkable. So shout out to Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles for putting on in the Super Bowl. Even though we all know it was an L, we still going to hold our heads high. And everybody that got the Goldies, that's another announcement too for you guys. Everybody got the Goldies. Remember, we only made 306 of them. This is 1 in 306. I'm taking 2 people to opening day with me. I'm going to announce the winners of the people that's going to rock out with me at the tailgate. Eat good. You know what I'm saying? Drink good. You know what I'm saying? Smoke good. Everybody that's going to rock out with me at the tailgate, I'm announcing that when the schedule release. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's going down as well. But I wanted to really talk about Sean Desai and his philosophy for a second, because it's a lot of responsibility on the coordinators. Now, we did really good in the draft. We know the talent that we possess, but the coordinators got to do their piece too. Can we all agree on that? You know what I mean? Can we all agree that the coordinators got to do their piece too? They got to do their piece. And Sean Desai, I'm not going to sit here and say Sean Desai got big shoes to fill because we want him to be better than the last guy. The philosophies are somewhat similar. And you have guys, you have carryover from that Super Bowl team and Slay and Bradbury, Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, Javon Hargrave, the list goes on. Avonte Maddox, you got defensive carryover, even Reed Blankenship, guys that know the system from last year. So really the only guys that got it, N'Kobe Dean. So really the only guys that got to, be brought to speed in the system are primarily the rookies. Now we got some new guys, Edmonds, who should get some playing time. Anthony Morrow should get some playing time, should absolutely make the roster as well. But the only new guys that got to be spun up are the Georgia Bulldogs and anybody else we acquire via free agency. Now, why do I feel comfortable with this? You know what I mean? It should be self-explanatory why we all should feel comfortable with just having the Georgia Bulldogs, our high draft picks, being the only ones that got to get spun up, because we got the veterans that could bring them along. And then these guys are national championships in their own right. They're intelligent already. So it shouldn't take them long to catch on. You know what I mean? But Sean Desai got to get the extra juice out of these guys because he is the defensive coordinator. You saw what talent did to Jonathan Gannon. It got him a job. Jonathan Gannon wasn't brilliant. And no disrespect, he wasn't brilliant. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be, whatever. I ain't trying to be none of that. But he wasn't brilliant. Sean Desai blitzes a little more than Jonathan Gannon. Sean Desai plays man coverage a little more than Jonathan Gannon. So Sean Desai mixes it up. These guys are from the Vic Fangio tree. But Sean Desai blitzes more and plays man coverage more. That means he mixes it up. He plays within the flow of the game. It's a lot that rests on this dude's shoulders. He's inheriting the most talented defense he's ever been around. And he's the head coach of it. He's inheriting that. You know what I mean? So he got to do his part. I think Nolan Smith might be the best Georgia Bulldog we ever drafted. I think it's going to be Nolan Smith and N'Kobe Dean. I honestly do, because we've never had that type of athleticism that comes with having a Nolan Smith. We've never had those type of playmakers back there, man. Let's think about this for a second. Now, Nolan Smith collegiate stats not going to blow you away. This is what y'all also got to understand about these Georgia Bulldogs. They were rotational pieces. They were rotational because they were so deep and so good, everybody was being able to play. They were rotational. You know what I mean? Homie that got drafted first overall last year that went to the Jaguars. I don't know how I'm forgetting his name, man. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Georgia Bulldog. You know what I mean? He wasn't rotational in Jacksonville. He was a primary guy on the defensive line. He had a decent season. That Jacksonville defense started looking different when that guy got out there. You know what I mean? LB, Louis T looked worried. He should be worried. You know what I mean? But these Georgia Bulldogs ain't to be taken lightly, man. They ain't to be taken lightly. They not. The opposition are the only ones that want us to feel like we only drafted popular names and ain't do our homework. I heard a hater say the Eagles just put the draft on auto draft. Something on them lines. What you want us to do of Jalen Carter there and Nolan Smith there? What you want us to do? Let's be logical about this. Everybody did every content creator I know did their homework on draft prospects. Every content creator, every nationally televised syndicated program that talks sports, they did their homework on prospects. You want to know why we ain't have to do too much homework? Because we had a 10th round pick because our GM good. I guess if you picking at 26, you got a lot of options. You never know what's going to be there at 26. We had the 10th pick. I was making Jalen Carter videos 2 months ago because we had the 10th pick. I knew it was a strong possibility. A strong possibility. I ain't had to make no Mozzie Smith video. I ain't had to do that. I'm just using it as an example. I had to make videos for top 10 talent because that's the pick we had. So if a top 10 guy like Jalen Carter is there, everything you thought you knew about the draft and all these guys you've been looking up from all of these schools all over the place, you could ball your paper up if Jalen Carter on the board. You could smack your draft board down if Jalen Carter there. What the hell you need your research for if Jalen Carter there? And that's where a lot of teams went wrong with Nolan Smith. That's where a lot of teams went wrong with Nolan Smith. They overthought it. So just because we didn't overthink it, don't have these guys having you believe that our picks weren't educated picks. Come on. When Nolan Smith was on the board, past like 12, everybody was saying get Nolan Smith. Every team that picked between 13 and 30 where we got him, Nolan Smith should have been picked. Nolan Smith should have been picked. We did our job. We picked best player available for positions that we heavily rely on. The Vic Fangio system is predicated off getting pressure with bringing 4 or sometimes 5. We got a defensive end and a defensive tackle because we like to bring pressure with 4 or sometimes 5. So I never really, and you got Howie Roseman, who builds in the trenches. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. These are all first-round picks of the Philadelphia Eagles. First-round picks up front. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. These are all first-round picks. Hassan Reddick is a first-round talent. All on the front. Josh West, wasn't a first-round pick, but we knew what we was getting ourselves into when we extended him. A player that could contribute. Hargrave, first round talent. We don't play around with the trenches, man. We don't like this. For instance, man, a lot of people don't value the trenches how we do. Some teams value different things. Listen, philosophies. This is what we also got to understand this too, y'all. Philosophies are sometimes built from the front office, and they just get a coordinator that could fit the philosophy of the front office. It's very rare in today's NFL that coordinators come in and do something that they brought with them. It's very rare in today's NFL that happens. Howie Roseman is the philosophy for the Philadelphia Eagles. Howie Roseman hires the coordinators, hires the coaches. Howie Roseman does the draft picking. He's instrumental to the success of the franchise. Let's make that clear. So when Howie Roseman hired Sean Desai, he hired somebody that fits the philosophy of the way he drafts. Pressure up front. Pressure up front. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. Makes sense. When you look at some of these other guys' drafts, you can see a change in philosophy. This was the first time the Dallas Cowboys drafted a defensive tackle since 91. I talked to CFT today. He brought that to my attention. Cowboys fan talk. Shout out to my guy, Rome. The first time that they drafted a defensive tackle since 1991. It's a change of philosophy happening. A change of philosophy happening. Sometimes teams need that. You know what I mean? Sometimes teams need that. I can't remember the last time the Washington Commanders drafted 2 cornerbacks in a draft. Back to back, I believe, right? Back to back, I believe. That's the changing of philosophy. A changing of philosophy. The Giants had a really good draft, but you can also see somewhat of a change of philosophy there as well. They're getting pieces that they need to help fill out their roster. Who didn't change the philosophy? The most successful team in the division the last 10 years, the Philadelphia Eagles. We don't need to change the philosophy because Howie Roseman's in the building. Sean Desai is no more than a motivational speaker and a situational coach. That's what he was here for. He has to be good situationally so we can succeed down the long run. You know what I mean? He got to be good situation. He has to have exceptional situational awareness. The talent is there, bruh. The philosophy is there. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel over here. He has to have impeccable situational awareness. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. We don't need you to be friends with nobody, friends with these guys, treat these guys with respect, and have impeccable situational awareness. That's it. That's it. You have talent. This defensive roster is stacked. Potential all across the board. You got the potential and the talent to run the defense that you want to run. The only thing I don't like about the philosophy is that if you're a smart coach, you're just going to take what the defense gives you in the philosophy that we run, and that's mainly the underneath routes. But you get Nolan Smith, who I looked at his ROS score. Somebody sent that to me. I think D-Lo sent it to me. I think it was D-Lo. D-Lo. He sent me the ROS score of Nolan Smith, and Nolan Smith is as athletic as the best wide receiver in the draft in the last 36 years if he was a wide receiver. His measurables athletically. He measures, he was more athletic than DK Metcalf coming out of the draft, measurable wise. Whatever they use to calculate that, you know what I mean? That's what he was. He can go all 53 and a half side to side of the field. He can do that. Physical specimen. He could do that. And then when you see a picture of him standing next to Jalen Carter, he ain't no small cat like I thought he was. He ain't no small cat. Speed. Fierce, ferociousness, man. We need that, man. And you're going to get to learn from Hassan Reddick. You know what I mean? Jalen Carter and them boys are going to learn from Fletch. You know what I'm saying? Milton Williams is getting better every year. I honestly think, you know what I mean? Milton Williams is ahead on the depth chart to me over Jordan Davis. Maybe it was the lack of reps for Jordan Davis, but Jordan Davis was wildly effective at plugging up the lanes when he was in there. The Philadelphia Eagles have paired Jordan Davis, you know what I'm saying, with Jalen Carter for many, many years to come. We're in great shape. And you know what's the best thing about it? Oh, you're going to have to end up paying them one day. Okay, one day got pushed back because they're both first round picks, and they're slated for a 5th-year option. We straight. So is Nolan Smith. We straight, y'all. We straight. But it's up to the coordinators. I'm comfortable with the offense, man. We haven't been talking about the offense enough. Shout out to y'all, all 509 people in the building. We haven't been talking about the offense enough because the offense really didn't do anything spectacular in the draft. You know what I mean? To the naked eye. You know what I mean? The naked eye would have you believe they didn't do anything spectacular. But that kid Tyler Steen, Alabama, he going to be a dog, man. He going to be a dog. That was a good pickup. The more and more I look at the film on this kid, I see why he was inducted into Stoutland University. I see why Stoutland hopped on the phone and asked him, was he ready to be an Eagle? He got what it takes. Brian Johnson got work to do, though. His first time being a coordinator. But there are advantages there. He's known Jalen Hurts since he was 4 years old. There are advantages there. When we brung him in, the Philadelphia Eagles hired Brian Johnson. When they hired Brian Johnson, Jalen Hurts became an all-pro MVP candidate when that happened. There are pros. There are pros. There's way more pros than cons than having Brian Johnson be the offensive coordinator. You will see hot routes now. You will see running backs catching the ball. You know what I mean? Hence DeAndre Swift being here. This team is a complete juggernaut now. It is. If you're worried about the threat of Jalen Hurts' legs, shame on you. Shame on you at this point. If you think that stopping him from running is going to beat him, I feel bad for you, man. Because I've seen every throw that a quarterback could throw all season by Jalen Hurts. The Super Bowl was the icing on the cake. He really saved his bag for last. The kid can make every throw. So go and load the box and try to stop everything else. AJ and them going to both have a stack of piece on you. Do you see where I'm really going with this, man? We're the best team in the National Football League the second year in a row. We the best the second year in a row. What a time to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. But I will say this, the coordinators have to do their part. I don't even think it's much to even do with Nick. At this point, Nick Sirianni is just the guy that got to answer the questions at the podium. That's all he got to do. And kudos to Nick Sirianni for giving up play calling. For giving up play calling and just sitting back. Sitting back and being him. Motivating the guys. Giving up play calling, bro. A culture is being built here, man. A year ago today, everybody questioned if Jalen Hurts was going to be benched by week 6. Now every player coming out the draft, Bijan Robinson, CJ Stroud, all either said Anthony Richardson. Come on. Multiple players in the top 10 all said they either look at Jalen Hurts, study Jalen Hurts, he the best quarterback in the league, or they want to play with him. We're from being doubted to being one of the most popular quarterback in the game. And that's because of Ski Mask Howie. He drafted him. It's different now, y'all. It's different. We got to start conducting ourselves like we got money. We rich. The rich got richer during the draft. Let's start conducting ourselves like we got money around this joint, man. We don't have to listen to the opinions of peons who ain't never seen a championship game as adults. Yeah, Dark Lord season. Yeah, Dark Lord back, yo. Dark Lord back. It's the off season. We're going to really talk to these guys, man. These guys are chum. We don't need to listen to the opinions no more of people who are not successful. Why would we do that? It don't even make sense. We need a ring this year, Rome. Let's talk about it. I'm in full agreement with that. This year is the year, bro. This is the year we go get it. Boston Scott going to be our primary punt returner, yeah, and he should be. He should be at this point. Boston Scott should be fielding kicks. There's no room in the backfield for him to be touching the ball, running it, unless we playing the Giants. There's no room. Covey ain't making the roster, bro. Whoever was returning kicks last year, they're not making the roster. And when I talk to Trey Thomas, you know what I mean? I'm going to get my dog Trey on. I got to ask him about this draft, too. When I talked to Trey Thomas, what was that, earlier in the season? He prefers running backs in the kick return game. And I got to say, man, he might have been right about that one. He definitely might have been right about that one. We're going to Vegas, LB. Let's go. You think Keely Ringo going to go to safety? I don't know, man. I'm leaving Keely at wide receiver, man. Cornerback. I'm leaving Keely where he at. The punter got to go because field position is a must-have this year. It's the small things, you know what I mean? The small things are the things we need to correct this year, the small things. It was 2 plays in the Super Bowl that ruined the game for us. 2 plays in the Super Bowl that lost us the game. I'm going to tell you all these 2 plays. The haters going to say the fumble. The haters are going to say the fumble, but we went over that here. After the fumble, we scored and went into halftime with a 10-point lead. The haters are going to say the fumble because the haters don't want to admit to the fact that Jalen Hurts is a top 3 quarterback in the game. Jalen Hurts has leapfrogged Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts has leapfrogged Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts has leapfrogged a lot of the young quarterbacks in the game. So they're going to say the fumble. The 2 plays that ruined the game for me are the Quez Watkins drop because we had to settle for 3. And the punt return to Kadarius Toney. The small things, y'all. Those were the small things right there. The small things. Now on special teams, you might have guys like Sidney Brown. You know what I mean? You might have Sidney Brown out there instead of Kayvon Wallace. It's different now, man. It all trickles down. You got to understand where I'm going with this. It all trickles down. It's one neat minor adjustments, Liz. You're right. Minor adjustments, minor tweaking that need to happen. And then you get that tweaking. I wasn't really all that pleased with our special teams coach, but when you think about it, yeah, Britton Covey returning kicks, and he had Kayvon Wallace out there. Now, Kayvon Wallace stepped up and made some plays, but I think that was his last season as being a Philadelphia Eagle. A lot of people going to get cut this year. A lot of people going to get cut this year. All them cornerbacks and all of them dudes that we picked up. Keely Ringo could be on special teams, y'all. A national champion. That's how deep we are. We didn't draft Keely Ringo to start and help shore up the secondary. He don't have that type of pressure on him. He ain't got that on him. He just got to get in where he fit in and be a sponge and learn from the OGs that's already on the roster. That's it. Like I said, man, it's a beautiful day to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I can't believe that the team put us in a Derek Barnett. Yeah, I think Derek Barnett comes back. We value big men, man. I think Derek Barnett comes back. Yeah, I think he comes back. They might even bring Tyron Jackson back. You know what I mean? But I definitely think Derek Barnett comes back. That injury really affected Derek Barnett. Everybody forgetting about Goddard. Big year. We're not forgetting about Goddard. I ain't forgetting about Goddard. Legatron, right. You know what I mean? I forgot about him. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about everything that we did, man, and really hone in on it, man. Sidney Brown was talked about as a top 3 safety prospect coming out this year's draft, man. Got him in the 3rd round. Sidney Brown was Philly Mike's number 2 safety coming out this draft. He was his number 2 safety coming out this draft. Got him in the 3rd round. I think people sleeping on Keely Ringo. I really do. Even when you look at our last pick in the draft, his name on it, you know, he was a dog, bro. 7th round pick, he was a dog. Everything comes full circle, man. You know, I just can't wait for the season to start. Man. So, you know what I mean? I want to say thank you to y'all, all 598 of y'all in the building. You know what I mean? Make sure you tap in with Big Print Champs. Get your Hurt Season hats, your Ski Mask Howie tees. Get all of that stuff, man. I want y'all to get ready for the playoffs. The NBA playoffs. I know a lot of y'all about to tap in with that. The Sixers have not lost the game. I'm looking at the opposition tonight. It's going to be a good one, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all. You know what I'm saying? The rest of y'all Tuesday. And tap in with lunchtime with the bullies tomorrow. We're going to have all updates, all breaking news, whatever we got to talk about tomorrow. And you know what I mean? Until then, man, you want 17 birds?
You want 17 birds? Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. In my line, if you want 17 birds, big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy, if you want 17 birds, big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy, if you want 17 birds, big ring, I play for the 17 birds. They had me 6 hours, I said 17 words.
Whoa. Congratulations to my dog, Joel Embiid, for winning the MVP. Philadelphia is up right now. Joel Embiid named NBA MVP. Philadelphia is up right now. We up big time right now. Let me read that. We are big time. He need to come play tomorrow, bro. Joel Embiid beats out Jokic and Giannis to become the first Sixer to win MVP since Allen Iverson. The process is the National Basketball Association's most valuable player.
You want 17 birds? Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. In my line, if you want 17 birds, big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy, if you want 17 birds, big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy, if you want 17 birds, big ring, I play for the 17 birds. They had me 6 6 hours, I said 17 words. I'm like Shady in the snow. I spun, I'm so superb. A legend still remains when his flesh is in the earth. And if they raid your tomb, may they fall upon a curse. Yeah, there's 9 I keep for backup. With this, I wanted chip. We ran plays. They need to build a statue for this shit. Big plays. A sleigh couldn't get you through this shit. More grams than Brandon. Fiends rushing for a hit. The priest sitting out a diner while you niggas giving tips. You gon' get a C-section, all that pushing through your lips. I hold it as a straighter. Shooter told me do my dips. You're just photogenic, not a boss, I'm convinced. Niggas practicing hard for them obituary pics. Shooters watching the gram for them locations of your pics. Linebacker Brunson, call me if you wanna hit. We world champs now, that just come with this shit. Let's go. You want 17 birds? Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. In my line, if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds.
The Commission.